Adults look and wonder, but they don't ask. Children look and wonder, and they ask. Why is your eye closed? And I'll tell the little ones, I'll say, years ago I had an operation on my head. And you know how they put you to sleep for operations? I said, go to sleep, yeah? I said, when I woke up, my eye said, I like sleeping. And so they couldn't get it to wake up. It just goes on sleeping. But at least this one woke up and said, yeah. So I said, I'm good to go, right? And I said, sure. Well, anyway, the older kids, you can tell I do a lot with children. I tell them a little bit different story. I tell them that there was a brain tumor. I don't tell them it was massive or anything like that. I said it was behind my eyes. And when they were doing the operation to remove it, there's nerves back there. And I said, you have nerves all your body? Yeah. I said, your brain says finger move, and the nerve helps it move. Anyway, signals it to move. I said, well, these nerves behind your eyes are real temperamental. See, I want to move closer to him. I can't stay here. But so he got back there and he was trying to remove it and jiggled them just a little bit, and they said, that's it, we quit. And so that's when they said, well, maybe it'll change their mind the next year, but they didn't. So I was in the hospital later on that year, and the doctor who was taking care of us, he said, it's a good thing your eye hasn't opened. And we said, what? We have been praying and hoping so very hard. He said, if your eye had opened, you would have seen double for the rest of your life. Now the kids said, what does that mean? I said, that means you see two of everything. And they'd say, oh, that'd be fun. I said, now wait a minute. Two of everything like this, overlapping. And so as a result, you couldn't watch TV, you couldn't play video games, you couldn't read a book, and later on when you got older, you couldn't drive a car. Oh, I said, most importantly, I wouldn't know which one of you to hug. And that really concerned them. I was surprised, because we always hug before class is over. I teach in church at children of different ages. Anyway, the reason I tell you this is because we all experience changes in our lives, some for the better, some for the worse, and yet we continue on. Rotary is wonderful because they offer changes to people for the better. Years ago, when Glade, not years ago, it was some years ago, when he joined Rotary, I went to some meetings with him. I thought, I don't get it. I just don't get it. And then we went to a district meeting, and all of a sudden, the whole thing opened up to me. I could not believe it. Well, the thing that impressed me the most, I guess, was of course polio, because of my deep abiding love for children. Rotary has done such wonderful things for polio. It's incredible. 1985, there were 350,000 cases of polio that year. This past year so far, there have been 49. Now, do you think that's exact changes in people's lives? You better believe it. They're no longer having to crawl on the ground. They're no longer having struggles breathing or anything else. Just think how wonderful, and what a wonderful gift you have given them. Thank you, thank you. One more story. It's a little worm on the ground, in the dirt and the muck. And he said, I've had enough of this. And so he climbed up the bark of the tree and went out on a limb. And there he said, okay, I'm gonna have to take a change. So he spun himself a little home, went inside, and spun the door closed. And there he stayed for quite a while. And then one day he said, it's getting crowded in here. I think it's time for a change. And so he started to dig out the door, and we can't help him because if we do, he'll die. He dug out the door, and what came out was an incredibly beautiful butterfly. You know, I think it's just wonderful. The butterflies are just so beautiful and enchanting. They just have such a wonderful purpose, just to bring joy and beauty to the world. When we were down in Brazil, we went down to the conference down there, and we spent about the first 10 days just touring Rio de Janeiro. Oh my goodness, the butterflies there are incredible and beautiful. I just couldn't believe it. And they kept landing all over Glade. I thought, I don't understand why they landed on him. They didn't land on me. Anyway, they were just really incredible to see. And I think there's such a joy they bring to people's lives, such a beauty and uniqueosity. Some time ago, when we were at the beginning of the year, the first part of the year, where were we at, Glade? Oh,
Pets.
Just fell apart here, Glade. It just fell apart on me. Anyway, we were here to a PETS, which is training for the new leaders in each club of Rotary. And I was with the spouses, telling them about different things. And I told them about these butterflies and how beautiful. Well, one of the ladies there later on came to me and she said, I have something for you. And this is what she gave me. Isn't that beautiful? It's a butterfly. I just think it's incredible. Well, you know, butterflies bring changes. Rotary brings changes. And if it weren't for changes and willingness to take them, there would be no butterflies. Thank you.
Well, Rotary provides an opportunity for us to serve others. We can be heroes. We can give back. And we ultimately want to bring world understanding and world peace, don't we, in everything that we do. Rotary also does some other things that we don't really talk much about. First of all, it strengthens families. And when I hear of Rotarians that say, you know what, I'm going to have to drop out of Rotary because I need to spend more time with my family, I don't think they get it. And I want to give you a couple examples. Brad Howard, who is a zone director. Zone directors, we have club presidents, district governors, and then we have zone directors. And we only have about 17 zone directors in Rotary. Well, he's now a zone director in California, and he tells this story. When he had just entered Rotary many years ago, he told his family that he was going to go over to Africa, and he had a little son, a 3-year-old son, and said, 3 or 5, anyway, very young, and said, would you like to go get some clothes out of your closet? I'll take over to Africa and give to the African children that don't have any. And his son thought that was a pretty good idea, brought some clothes out to his dad. His dad took it, put him in a suitcase, went over to Africa. And when he came home, his son came running up to him and said, Daddy, Daddy, do you have any pictures of the African children wearing my clothes? And he said, no, I don't. I put those clothes in with the other bundles, and they went to all sorts of different children. And he felt kind of badly, and his son was a little dejected too. But later his son came back into the study, and he said, Daddy, with a big smile on his face, we did a good thing, didn't we? Age 5 years of age, his dad was teaching him how to be giving to others. And subsequently, as the son grew, his dad took him on other humanitarian trips. And now his son, who's an adult, grown, is a great humanitarian and will be a humanitarian for life. Let's move on. Expand business opportunities. I can promise you, everyone who is a Rotarian, sometimes people join Rotary to network, to expand their business. And some people come and go. They join, and after they let everybody know they're new to town and what they do, they've made their self known, then they maybe move on, or maybe their business doesn't grow for whatever reason, they might drop out. I have stayed in Rotary. I stayed in Rotary because I wanted to give back, and that's probably ultimately the majority of the reasons people join. But I can tell you that over time, people have come to me and said, Glade, my wife's going to go to your rehab center after she gets her knee replaced because I know you through Rotary, I know how you will treat her, and I can promise you I've heard that story many times. So I know it does expand business opportunities. And the third thing it does, it helps us grow professionally. The 4-way test that we recited is a code of ethics. And when we make decisions, when I make decisions in my business, I look at that code of ethics, and I remind myself of that code of ethics. And I have made decisions that have been very, very honest for other people. A quick example, I have CNAs that work for me. I tell CNAs, come to work at this time and then leave at that time. You have a shift to work. If they come early, I could easily say, well, I told them I'm not going to pay them. But instead, I tell my human resource director, we will pay them. But I want you to counsel them, or their supervisor to counsel them and make sure they understand, please show up on time, don't show up early, because our time clock automatically puts them to 15 minutes before, depending upon when they sign in during that 15-minute period. If they sign in, you know, well, I won't go into that, but just so you know that it does that. But I could change it. But because of the code of ethics, I feel I am very honest with them, and I pay them for that extra 15 minutes. Now, as business people, you know that if you have 30, 35 employees that show up 15 minutes early over a year period of time, that's thousands of dollars. But we take care of it in an ethical, honest manner. So it does help. Well, Rotarians, all of you have influence, one way or another. And some of you may say, I don't have any influence, but I promise you, you do. You do have influence. And that's what we do, is that we come together, and with our influence, we identify needs. We want to make changes. We are not satisfied with mediocrity. We're not satisfied with the status quo. The key thing is we make a plan, and then the number one thing is that we take action. And that's what Rotarians do, is that we take action. We make change to make things better. Now, there are people in your community that have passions. They might be one individual doing a whole big project here in your community. Or there could be others that have passions and they don't know how to serve, how to give back. And if we identify them and say, Rotary is a great place for you to be able to share your passion with others, to make a change, and to give back to the community with the blessings you have. And so they may already have a plan, but if they don't, we can help them make the plan. And here's the key thing, Rotarians, is that with the support of the Rotary family, we can take action. 12, 15 people can do a lot more than just one person or two persons. And so that's why it's so important that we bring others into our group and we provide the service that's needed in our community. I promise you, every community that has a Rotary Club in Utah or through anywhere else, that community is better because of what Rotary does to make it better. And so is the world. As Vicki mentioned, polio. Polio. There are people that even live nowadays that have the after effects of polio, and some people have even died that we know. And to think that there were 1,000 cases a day back in 1985. And Rotary said, we're going to change the world. And we did. Now there's only a handful. As Vicki said, 49 or 50 within this past year. Well, one thing that I did as a district governor, Gala has so many things to be responsible for, and Rotary, there's so many programs. I decided to identify 4 areas in order to help Gala and other club presidents to focus upon Rotary programs and to be a gift to the world and to further the cause of Rotary. These are the 4 areas: new generations, membership, foundation, and attendance at district level events. Vicki mentioned attending the district level events, and that's when she said, I finally got what Rotary was about. So in new generations, we wanted to send youth to RILA. According to youth leaders, Lorraine, everything begins with RILA. Everything begins with RILA in Rotary. And we want the youth to be trained and make them better leaders and help them to mature and grow. Maybe avoid some of the mistakes that we've made as we've grown up. Membership, we want to grow members. If we remain stagnant, I promise you the club will eventually dwindle and go away. We have a service club in Cedar City that used to be a vibrant club in another service organization. Now they are non-existent. Rotary Foundation, we want to increase giving because there are programs to do throughout the world, and attendance at district level events is the district assembly, which we've already had, and it's coming up again for this coming year, and then district conference that's going to be in Cedar City, and I have something about that. But I want to share these goals with you very quickly that Gala made, to send 4 youth to RILA, and this year we sent more youth to RILA than we have in previous years because we had goals. And to send 2 adult facilitators to RILA. A membership to have 10 new members, and so I had 10 new members down there. That's 5?
We changed it.
Okay, so it's 5 new members, and so that will make it 27, right? So I need to change that to 5 and to 27. And then the Rotary Foundation to give $3,025, and right now you've given over $1,000 this year so far. That excludes Polio Plus. And for the members here, the Polio Plus assessment is $32 per member per year, and that's to help us get the Gates Foundation grant that he will multiply every dollar we give by 2. So the LDS Church just recently gave $200,000 again. That's $600,000 that's going to go towards polio. And the $1,000 that you, well, for polio, if your club were to give $1,000, that would turn into $3,000. So anyway, but $3,000 for the Rotary Foundation, and then attending district level events to send 2 attendees. And Gayla, I think I have recorded that you had 1 that you sent, and if that's wrong, let me know. And district conference to have two Rotarians go to the district conference in Cedar City, and I'm hoping more of you will go. I hope we can have a handful of people from this great club to come to Cedar City to district conference. It's very important to know in conclusion that Rotary, we don't need to have a dam disaster, do we, in order to do good. Some people want to do good, but they don't know how to do good, and they're going to wait for disasters to happen, or maybe they'll even wait for an accident to happen before they feel they can be a hero to somebody. But we can be a hero every single day. We serve every single day. And if I were to say, for you sitting here, not wanting to talk about headstones, but on your headstone could easily be put service above self, for what you do in service to mankind. So the question is, how will you be a gift to the world? That's our theme. How will you be a gift to the world? It's very important that we choose wisely. 2 years ago, the Rotary International President was Ron Burton. Remember Ron Burton? He was your international president as a first-class club president. He said many years ago, when he was taking the role of a district governor, he was sitting in his study on the eve of taking that responsibility. And he said, I decided I was going to call the person I was responsible to and tell them I was not going to do it. I was too busy. He was an attorney in Oklahoma City, and he had a rotary phone, and he was dialing the phone number, and when he got to the last number, he hung up the phone. And he said, I decided I would do that responsibility, and that I would serve as a district governor. And he said that small decision on that evening changed his life. And so there are small decisions that we have to make every single day. Are we going to participate in that project? Are we going to go to Rotary Club meeting? Are we going to give that dollar? Are we going to serve here? Are we going to do this? The key thing is that the decisions we make will determine our destiny. So choose wisely and continue to serve and stay involved in Rotary. Thank you very much.